Hello and welcome to Joyful, the podcast that will help you live a more joyful life. I'm your host, Chloe Markham, and it's my mission to help you find more joy every single day. This podcast is a deep dive into ways to reduce your stress, your overwhelm, anxiety, and that voice in your head that tells you you're not good enough, whilst also diving into the methods, philosophies, and protocols that help us live more connected, grounded, and ultimately happier lives. This is about living life on purpose. Without any further ado, let's dive into today's episode. Hey, my friend. Welcome back to the podcast, or welcome for the first time, if this is your first time. I want to talk about self-care today, but you know what? Before we do, take a big breath in. Hold it for a second. Notice the tension in your shoulders, in your jaw, and your forehead, and then as you breathe out, let it melt. Close your eyes if you can, and I don't know, maybe just give yourself a little moment to breathe again, to wiggle your shoulders, your neck, your head, your jaw. I don't think we do this enough. And when we do, it can change so much about our day. And I'm talking about that moment we just shared there, 10 seconds? And I just want to remind you that's self-care, right? And I kind of hate the phrase self-care because it's been so overused, hasn't it? And you probably have an image of what that looks like. So I suppose what I'm doing here is busting some myths, baby, that might be just keeping you, might be the only little tweaky things that are keeping you from feeling your best. So grab a cup of tea, or not, just arrive with me here and let's bust some myths, my friend. I think the first thing that comes to mind when we talk about taking care of ourselves is this idea that it's got to be expensive. I am so close to spaffing loads of cash on a spa week, because a week isn't long enough, right? In Edinburgh, because, Scottish city, I love the autumn in Scotland, anywhere, really. But spa day, oh my God. You know how much that's going to set me back? A lot of money. And I want to talk about that right now. And look, if you can swing this shit, those things are lush, like spa days, luxury skincare, weekend getaways. They're amazing, and yes, let's champion those things. But here's the truth. Self-care doesn't have to cost a single penny. You don't need to buy stuff. You don't need to schedule holidays. You don't need to, get away from your house or have someone give you a treatment to take care of yourself. In fact, some of the most powerful self-care practices are absolutely free. All right, so think about it. And you might be walking right now, so you're nailing it. But things like going for a walk, especially when you can intercept yourself being angry or overwhelmed or stressed or anxious, right? Like, okay, I need to do something other than sit at my desk right now or do this job right now or do this task right now. I'm going to go and intercept it, go for a walk. Like, doing that, huge. I don't know, spending time with your favourite book, just lying down and giving yourself permission to rest. Yoga Nidra, baby. Please listen to other pods on that because it's so important. Lately I've been, and I know I had a podcast episode about this, I know I mentioned it, like brushing my teeth and being really mindful about it. Sitting down, closing my eyes and just taking a real mindful moment while I brush my teeth. These are free things, and I really want to just remind you that they are really impactful. They are really impactful. So, I don't know, right now, can you think about the free stuff that you can do today that would make you feel looked after, taken care of? And I think they're different to everybody. I think there are fundamentals that work for all of us, but yeah, maybe yours is like different, you know? But the first takeaway of this episode is this: self-care doesn't have to be glamorous or expensive, pricey, or involve going away or spending any money. It can be really small, and in fact, these are so impactful. The really small, simple, little mindfulness moments, little intercepting moments can have a way bigger impact on your nervous system, on your mindset, on your day than you can ever realise. Self-care doesn't have to be big, spenny, or glamorous. Alright, so I suppose then the second myth that we can burst is about the time we spend on caring for ourselves. You don't have time I don't have time. I don't got time. It hits home, right? Because we say it all the fucking time. I'm too busy. I don't have the time. I'll take care of myself later when things calm down. Spoiler alert, things rarely calm down. There's never a perfect moment. And if you decide you're too busy, you're gonna be. I find the concept of this actually really interesting, because I think whatever you love doing, whatever you're convinced is going to be a good thing to do, you will make time for. Actually, I don't think it's about time at all. It's actually about impetus to do something, motivation to do something. So we just have to get creative here, babe, right? And self-care, like I mentioned a moment ago, it's not expensive. It doesn't have to be expensive. It also doesn't have to be hour upon hour of stuff. And like, I find this really interesting when it comes to meditation. People go away for 10-day retreats where they meditate for 10 days and they don't say anything. They can be silent retreats, and it's so overwhelming. And I think sometimes that is what people think of when they think of meditation. But a meditation, can be 2 minutes. And I promise that you can self-guide it. So can you put a timer on your phone? And you can do this now. Pause this podcast, do it now, or do it later in the day. Make sure you do it. But set a timer for 2 minutes, especially if you don't meditate, and just in that time, close your eyes and sit, be comfy, lie down if you want, and just really notice what's going on in your head. The practice isn't clearing your head, it's actually noticing what's going on in there. So when your mind wanders over recipes or what you're having for dinner, or that work problem, or that person, or how you feel about this thing that's a bit icky, be like, oh, I'm noticing that thing. It's all right, come back. It's all right. And that's all it is. A process of continuously coming back for 2 minutes. That's all it needs to be. Self-care can fit into the nooks and crannies of your day. Or like when you're waiting for the kettle to boil. These are like micro moments of care. Do a quick stretch, take a few deep breaths. I love box breathing for times like that. So you breathe in for say 4 counts, hold it for 4, exhale for 4, hold it for 4. Or maybe exhale for a bit longer, maybe, if that's feeling good for you. Do that while your kettle's boiling. Maybe when you're in the shower, you could do the same thing. Just close your eyes and feel the water hitting your skin. Again, the toothbrush thing. These little moments add up, and they can fundamentally change the way that you approach reality. And by that I mean it's a nervous system thing, right? If you've listened to me prattle on about the nervous system, you'll know that the way you're sitting in your nervous system literally changes the way that you interact with reality and the way that you see the world. If you haven't listened to a previous ep on that, self-care doesn't have to take ages. This is our takeaway number 2 here. Micro moments of care, right? Do it. Take 5 deep, slow breaths right now as you listen to me. How easy is that? And it can change fundamentally, and the more that we can do this and pepper it into our day, it can change fundamentally the way that we live our lives. Huge. You do have time for self-care, right? And it's magical when you do it. And this last one, I know this might be a big one for some of you guys, especially the women, and that's really gendering, isn't it? So maybe that's not okay to say, but I'm just thinking of mothers. I'm not a mother. I don't really intend to be one. But I look at mothers and I take all of my hats off because I don't know how you do it. There's this idea that self-care, I mean, we go back to the spa day idea, right? It's a selfish thing. Abandoning your family and fucking off to the Cotswolds for a weekend. Like, is that something a devoted mother, partner, daughter, son, brother, whatever, would do? I don't know. And maybe it's tied up to this idea that that is what self-care is. But I'm here to remind you that self-care is not selfish. Somewhere along the way, we're taught that looking after ourselves is indulgent, especially if we've got people depending upon us, right? Whether that's at work, at home, wherever. Whether you are male, female, somewhere in between. I think we all can relate to this. We're trying to make the world a better place. We're trying to take care of people. We're trying to help people out. And wait, what? We have to take care of ourselves? I don't have time. I don't have money. And that's fundamentally selfish. They come first. But here's that thing, right? That whole aeroplane, put your mask on first before you deal with anyone else's. It's so true because, and I can hear so many like staid conversations about this. It's so true, babe. Really take care of yourself. But it is. Like, if you want to build good relationships and make good decisions and do good work and be creative and have goodness in your life, it's so important that you have to prioritize your health and your mental health and your space and your joy and your goodness, right? There's that whole thing, you can't pour from an empty cup. And I find it really interesting. Again, it's been drummed into us in so many different ways. Like sometimes I do like a workout on YouTube and there'll be, or a yoga class or whatever, and there'll be a moment where we do something challenging and then they'll instruct me to go into a child's pose and they say, you deserve this child's pose because of all the hard work you've just done. And it's fucking annoying because we don't deserve rest because we've worked hard. We fundamentally need rest, and it's the same when you're caring for people. You don't deserve a bit of self-care because you've helped out your neighbour today, or you've been taking care of your kids for I don't know, a period of time, or like, do you know what I'm saying? You need it in order to do those things well. So when you take care of yourself, whether that's mentally, emotionally, physically, you show up better for the people in your life. You've got more energy, more patience, more joy to share with others. And that's a beautiful thing. This is like that upward spiral I talk about all the time. And it starts with you. And I know it seems kind of mad. Okay, so what? I'm like letting the kettle boil and doing a few breaths. What, that's going to actually help me share my joy with others? Yes, baby, yes. Because the more that you can do that, the more that you're training your brain to be in these mindful, again, I hate the word mindful because it's so overused, but you know what I mean. We can be in these mindful moments 3 times a day, 4 times a day, every hour of the day. I don't know. The point is we start. This is essential. Self-care isn't selfish. It's essential to your well-being and all of the things I've just spoken about. And when you take care of yourself, you're just better equipped to take care of everybody else, and everything else in your life. It's a win-win. So if that's been you in the past, self-care, selfish, I don't have time, like, no. Fundamental, it's important, it's essential. So, quick recap, self-care does not have to be expensive, it doesn't have to take ages, and it most definitely isn't selfish. What it is necessary. And it can start really small right now. So I just want to leave you with a challenge. Choose one tiny act of self-care today. It could be that breath by the kettle I spoke about, the 2-minute meditation I spoke about, taking a walk. I don't know. It doesn't matter. It's about all of these micro moments of self-care that make a world of difference. You deserve to feel good. You're worth time and energy. You're deserving of nourishing yourself. I hope you leave this episode feeling inspired and ready to take on your day with a little more ease and joy, because I just think, we are heading towards our inevitable demise. And I think, we want to spend this precious time like being stuck and frustrated and stressed and anxious and burning out? Hell no. Right? Go and take care of yourself. Find a little bit of love, a little bit of slow, quiet goodness. And that's the upward spiral we take out into the world. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. If this episode resonated, I'd love to hear. Let me know what you've got going on today, what you're going to try. Pop me a message. Tag me. I am at the.yoga.revolution on Instagram. You have got this. I am cheering you on. Until next time, loads of love. Speak to you soon. Thank you so much for tuning in today, my friend. If it's you that's feeling stuck, craving more energy, or just looking for a way to reconnect with yourself again, Joy Unplugged is here for you. It's all about creating space for more joy in everyday life, and I'd love for you to join me inside. Find more details on my website, chloemarkham.co.uk/joy-unplugged, or click the link below. I will see you next time.